Okay, you guys, what is up? The King of Lightning is here today to do Bleach Chapter 524 review. Now, this week's chapter of Bleach, basically, this should be a fairly quick chapter review by my standards. And the reason why is because this chapter is actually very simple. To do a very quick skim through of the entire chapter, it's basically some stuff at the beginning with Yachiru and Unohana and Isane getting their quote-unquote, if you would put it, their last memento of their captains. The Kenpachi eye patch and a letter to Isane from Unohana. And then we see Unohana, and then we see Isane crying. We see Yachiru like looking, I guess, sad. And then after that comes the fight, like the main full-blown fight between Unohana and Kenpachi. And a few things revealed, a few things that are still in the dark, and Unohana's own understanding that she will lose, or at least Kenpachi won't die. And there's the end of the chapter. So the thing here, right? So let me get started with the actual, because the stuff, the part at the beginning with Yachiru and Isane is self-explanatory, it really is. So when it comes to like the meat, which was clearly the fight between Unohana and Kenpachi, well, basically, at first it appeared that Unohana was, actually no. Let me start in a different scheme, all right? Before I get more in depth here, right? I want to start in a different scheme, all right? The end of the fight. Something very strange occurred. Something very strange occurred in the middle of this fight, all right? I mean, I don't know why there was a wall in the Mugen, but apparently there was some wall where Unohana had Kenpachi pinned. And Kenpachi's sword was like a ways away. Like she had knocked away his sword and he was pinned against the wall. And then Kenpachi has like a speech about how he used to worship Unohana. About how he'd always cut trees and bugs and people, but they were so boring. But when he fought against Unohana the first time, he actually feared her. He feared death. And at that point in time, he respected her and he worshipped her because she was the only person to deliver that sense of fulfillment to for the first time to someone like Kenpachi, someone who likes to fight and all that stuff. So she was the first one. And what happened here is that Kenpachi starts to cry, which was actually a pretty surprising moment, where he starts to he has that manly one tear, like that manly one tear about how he was disappointed that he was gonna die here in the Mugen without ever having the enjoyment, or at least the fulfillment of killing Unohana, Yachiru. Then there's an image of a blade going through Kenpachi's neck. Alright? And then you assume, okay, well, maybe Unohana did win. And I mean, that's what I first assumed. And then Kenpachi, he actually bends down, coughing up blood. He's like, fuck. And then the next panel was some weird shit. Because Kenpachi all of a sudden, you see his eyes, and then his sword, which was a ways away, is now in his hand. And then Unohana is blocking his sword. So right there, that was very fucking weird. I was like, wait a second. Because I looked at the panels. I'm like, wait a second, hold on. Your sword was like over there, like it was it was a few meters away. Why the fuck is it in your hand? It was some weird shit going on. Like it was like, what? Like that was some weird ass shit. That was some weird ass shit. I don't know. I literally just do not know. That was some weird shit. And then maybe it has something to do with Kenpachi's innate powers. And then Kenpachi's like, fuck it, I don't care. And he starts to roll with that shit. Like he starts to roll with the fact that his sword just came to his hands. And he's like, right now he's about to use pure basic instincts. And then Unohana at the end of that, she starts talking to herself in her monologue. And then she talks about how Kenpachi, you won't die. And then she says, and I quote, "You return stronger every time you cross the border of death." You return stronger every time you cross the border of death. What is he? What is he? A fucking Saiyan? Like, like what? Where the fuck is Vegeta? Yeah, like seriously. Like, oh my god. Like when I heard that shit, I'm like, yo, man. I mean, like what? Like what is now a fucking Zenkai increase? Like what? Like what's going on right now? Yeah. And then she says, that is the oversight that you have imposed on yourself, as well as my sin. So apparently, like there was more. There were apparently during the fight between, well, either it's a sin that she had occurred that occurred with her and Kenpachi the first time they fought, or it's something that just involves her and herself only. I don't know. I'm going to assume the first one, because there appears to be something that's really going on here between Unohana and Kenpachi, but it's not in full bloom yet because we haven't had that full-blown flashback of Unohana and Kenpachi's first fight. And apparently, at the beginning of the actual fight, like when we see Kenpachi and Unohana, like, you know, like going like blow for blow, it appears as if Unohana have the advantage, which, you know, makes sense to me because, you know, Unohana, she is, I mean, it makes sense to me. And, I mean, considering the fact that Kenpachi, like a ways ago, had fingers in his neck via Roit, not even Yuha, Roit. So, Yuha back. There we go. Yeah, got to the back. And so the thing here is that, you know, her getting the advantage at first makes sense to me. And the fact that, what was it? Oh, yeah, and like she used some weird sword thing where, like, I don't know how this happened, but like a blade came out of Kenpachi's back. Like, it was like, you know, and I came out of Kenpachi's back. And then Kenpachi was talking about how you didn't use cheap tricks on me the last time. Like, you've changed. And like, she's telling you, well, I didn't change, but last time I couldn't use, or last time I fought, you couldn't give me an opening for those cheap tricks. So, according to Unohana, Kenpachi was stronger. He was stronger a ways away than he is now. Actually, in a way, that's very reminiscent of the whole entire Ichigo thing, where Ichigo, in the entire series of Bleach, he seems stronger at the end of Soul Society arc than he was when he first entered the actual, you know, Arrancar saga, and mainly because of the fact that he had a, like, you know, like you guys know, because I mean, at least that's the way it seemed to me personally, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, like, that's pretty much it, because that's the way it rolled, pretty much. Like, it was a few monologues here and there in the middle of the fight about how Kenpachi was stronger ways away, how Unohana changed, how she didn't change, how Kenpachi changed, then Kenpachi being, you know, like like overpowered, his speech, his tears, the, you know, manly one tear, and then the image of the sword going through his actual neck, then the whole entire thing about the sword somehow, even though it was like a few meters away, how the sword somehow came back in his hands, and how he's competing with like Unohana right now by using his base instincts, and then how we have Unohana talking in her monologue about how Kenpachi, when he crosses the border of death, he returns stronger, Super Saiyan, you know, Vegeta, you know, on some shit like that. Yeah, play clip.
Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000!
And the thing here, I mean, look, man, the way it is that, I mean, basically, Kenpachi gets Zenkai increases. That's the way he rolls. And then Unohana saying how Kenpachi won't die, which actually, it lets me know that maybe the letter that she gave Isane is actually probably dealing with that she knows that she's going to lose the fight, and she knows that she's going to, you know, die, probably. And then we see that Unohana has a sin or a burden that also prevents her from winning. And Kenpachi's going to wind up becoming the winner, getting stronger somehow, some way. Yeah, he's going to get stronger. Either he's going to get stronger by mimicking Ichigo in his, like how Ichigo had to learn instincts, and he honed his instincts more, and then Kenpachi's gonna do the same thing maybe, or he's gonna actually learn these killing arts. I mean, I don't see him learning so far. I don't see him learning killing arts in this situation, but fuck it, we'll see. So the rating overall is gonna be the fight was surprising. I won't say it's good, but it was surprising. Like it threw me off in a lot of parts, and that's why I'll give it a good rating, because it was like there were some really like surprising parts in this chapter when it came to the fight. So I'm done. King of Lightning, and I mean, because the fight at the beginning was kind of hard to follow because of Kubo's art style. I mean, I'll be honest. Like I really will be honest. Like it was hard to follow. It really was. But still, I mean, yeah, I'll give it a good. And good being, I'm being generous here, because I'll give it okay plus, but I'll round off the good in this case, because again, there were some fairly surprising parts. So I'm done. King of Lightning. Be sure to, of course, rate, comment, subscribe, and be sure to, of course, rate, comment, and subscribe.